Good morning, dear students. Today I'm going to explain Chapter 3 The Footsteps Die Out Forever. A Tale of Two Cities is a historical novel written by Charles Dickens, which is set in London and Paris in the scene of French Revolution. This tale says about violence and injustice that happen towards people. At the same time, it also highlights the values of love and sacrifice. Sidney Carton is a British lawyer who falls in love with Lucy Manet, a French lady. But Lucy loves Charles Dane Evremonde, who is a member of the French ruling class. Even though Charles was a nice person who was not ill-treated anybody, he is captured and ordered to be killed for the crimes committed by his father and uncle. But on the day of execution, Sidney Carton sacrifices his life for his love, Lucy Manet. Sidney Carton secretly changes places with Charles, who is inside the prison. Sidney Carton's love towards Lucy was that much deep and sincere. So, the lesson is a short extract from the novel A Tale of Two Cities. It describes the last hours of Sidney Carton's life as he is being taken to be punished by guillotine. 6 carts were going around, and there were formed a temporary silence among the people who were in the streets. But the people were not so curious about these sights because they were used to see these sights. So there were no faces peeping through the window, and nobody stopped their work seeing that. But the people watched the faces in the carts. Here says about the riders in the carts. Some of the riders in the carts were sitting calmly. Others showed their interest in life. Some of them were sitting with their eyes closed and thinking. They might be thinking of their past pleasure moments of their life, or might be thinking of their family. Only one man in the cart was upset, and he was singing and dancing. But nobody in the cart asked the help of the people. There were horsemen riding beside the carts, guiding the men in the carts to guillotine. The horsemen often pointed their swords to a single man in the cart who was standing at the back of the cart with his head bent down, and he was often talking to a girl who was sitting on one side of the cart. She was holding his hand, but the people in the streets were shouting against that man. But the man gave a quiet smile for the shouting of the people, and he shook his hair more loosely about his face. The riders were taken to the church. There were some people standing or awaiting for the riders. There stood the spy. The spy refers to the man who helped Charles and Sidney Carton to change the places in the prison. The spy was waiting for the carts, and he was searching for Charles Evremonde in the first and second carts. And he says himself that he has cheated me. He refers to Charles. The spy searched in the third cart very angrily. A man who stood behind the spy asked for Charles Evremonde. Then the spy pointed Charles and said that the man who is holding the girl's hand is Charles. The man shouted at Charles Evremonde and ordered him and all the riders in the carts to guillotine. Here the man calls the people in the carts aristocrats because most of them belong to the highest social class. The man shouts especially at Charles Evremonde and says that he is going to suffer for his crime. Then Charles Evremonde, that is Sidney Carton, Charles Evremonde, who is disguised as Charles Evremonde? It is Sidney Carton who disguised as Charles Evremonde notices the spy and moves on. The clock strikes 3 and the crowd come close to the guillotine when the last cart nearest to it. All the prisoners climbed down from their carts and they waited near the guillotine for their turn. There were women sitting in front of the guillotine. They were busily knitting. When the first man was beheaded, they counted 1. All the prisoners in the second cart were beheaded, and the women counted 13. When the chance for the third cart approached, Charles Evremonde, who is disguised, it is Sidney Carton, who is disguised as Charles Evremonde. So Sidney Carton climbs down, and the lady also with him stepped down from the cart. Charles was still holding the hands of the lady as he promised. The lady looked at his face and says thanks to him. She says that she won't be brave or confident if he was not with him, and says that he might have sent from heaven for her own sake. Charles, or Sidney Carton, it is Sidney Carton, consoles her that not to get worried. She replies that she will not if they are quick to do her execution. The girl was called first. They blessed each other, and the girl's face showed great courage, and she had been beheaded. Then the knitting women counted 22. The crowd were watching the tragic scenes, and some of them murmured, and some looked upwards and worried. The crowd moved forward and forward like a great wave. When Charles Evremonde name was called, Sidney Carton, who is disguised as Charles Evremonde, steps forward. He looked around, stepped towards guillotine without fear. The people who watched Evremonde during execution, the people might say his face was the most peaceful they saw that day. His eyes were bright with heavenly light, and it seemed some thought were passing through his mind. According to the people, Evremonde looked very noble and inspiring. If he had expressed his last thoughts, they would have included a prediction. Last paragraph is mentioned in the form of a prediction by Sidney Carton, who is disguised as Charles Darnay Evremonde. He is saying that he expects a beautiful city and brave people after his death. There will form a new life of peace and freedom after his death. He sees a prosperous England which he can't see anymore. He says he imagines the life of those people for which he laid down his life. He imagines a child in her arms. Here her refers to Lucy Manet. He imagines a child in her arms in his name, so he will be remembered and honored in their hearts forever. It's a better thing he has never done before, and it's a better thing he has ever done before, and he is going to rest in that world which has been unknown to him. So here ends the chapter. I think you are clear with the incidents and happenings in the chapter. So see you in the next class. Thank you. Goodbye.